Good day everybody, we are from Group 2 and welcome to our presentation video. So in this video, we are going to cover on the most famous short story by Oscar Wilde named The Happy Prince. And now, at first glance, this story may seem like a fairy tale, but Wilde actually filled the story with elements. In this video, we'll explore and go to the plot by using project triangle, followed by the settings and the character with the characteristic, and then after that, we'll explore more about the conflicts, the point of view, and the themes, and finally the literary devices that Wilde used to bring the story to life.
Before we jump into the elements in the short story, have you guys ever heard of a story where a statue and a little bird teach us what true kindness means? That is exactly what Oscar Wilde's The Happy Prince is about. So, before we start the video, let me introduce you the summary of the story. The Happy Prince is a golden statue standing high above a city. On the outside, he looks very beautiful. He was covered in gold and jewels, but inside, he sees all the suffering of the poor below. He can't move because he is a statue, so he asks a swallow, a bird who stopped by on his journey south to Egypt, to help. The swallow plucks off the statue gold and jewels, piece by piece, and gives them to the poor. As winter comes, the swallow stays behind the statue to help, even though it costs him his life. But in the end, the statue becomes dull and shabby, and the town people pull it down. But in heaven, God declares that the swallow and the prince's heart are the two most precious things in the world. It is a bittersweet story, but what shows us that true beauty isn't just a gold or a jewels. It's a compassion, sacrifice, and love for the people. Now, let's continue the video with the Freytag triangle, starting off with the exposition.
In the exposition of The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde, we are introduced to a beautiful city where, at the very center, stands a tall and magnificent statue. The statue is called the Happy Prince, and from far away it shines brilliantly, for it is covered in gold leaf, with eyes made of bright blue sapphire and a ruby that glows red on his sword. The people of the city admire the statue and see it as a symbol of joy, beauty, and perfection. Mother even tells their children to look up at the Happy Prince whenever they are sad, because to them, he represents happiness that never fades. So, in the rising action, the Happy Prince weeps as he finally sees the misery of the city, from starving children and struggling mother to poor artists, and the compassionate swallow agrees to be his messenger. Together, they begin an act of sacrifice. The prince gives his ruby to a sick boy through his mother, then sapphire eye to a starving young writer, and finally the other to a poor match girl, leaving the statue blind and dependent on the swallow. As winter approached, the swallow delayed his journey to the Egypt, moved by love and compassion, while he stripped the prince of his gold leaf to distribute among the poor, bringing them relief to both he and the statue grow weaker and ugly. So, the climate arrived when the Happy Prince is left stripped of all beauty, and the swallow, the bird who has sacrificed his life journey, dies at the prince's feet, breaking the prince's leaden heart in sorrow. This is the emotional peak of the story, where both the prince and the swallow show their deepest love, loyalty, and selflessness. In the following action, the townspeople, blind to true work, call the statue ugly and order it to be destroyed. Discarding the broken heart alongside the dead bird, to them, the prince is no longer valuable because its outward beauty is gone. Finally, in the resolution, God asks his angel to bring him the most precious thing in the city, and they present the broken heart and the dead swallow. God welcomes them into his eternal garden, where they will know everlasting joy and life, revealing the story's moral. True wealth is found not in gold or jewels, but in love, kindness, and sacrifice.
May I interview you for a second?
Sure.
Read the short story named The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde?
Yes.
Based on the short story, may you tell me the setting?
So, the short story takes place in an unnamed city. The main places are the statue pedestal, poor homes, the palace and street, and the river. So, the time is from autumn to winter, shown through the migration of birds and the coming of snow and cold.
So, based in the short story, can you describe the environment or the surrounding in the city?
Yes, the place were freezing cold. They were divided by class. The poor are starving, while the rich stay in palace.
So, the physical setting is basically the place and environment where the events of a story take place. It answers the question of where the story happens and sometimes what the surroundings look like. This can include things like buildings, rooms, natural landscapes, the weather, and even the time of day.
So, may you explain further about the theme?
The story shows comparison and selflessness, where true happiness comes from giving to others. It also highlights sacrifice, as the happy prince and the bird give up their life to help the poor. The deep social is injustice, was shown through the big gap between the rich and the poor. Finally, it teaches true kindness and sacrifice.
Thank you for sharing from your perspective. Thank you for your time and see you later.
A character is simply a person, an animal, or a figure that takes part in the story. They are the one who act, speak, and move the plot forward. For example, in Oscar Wilde's The Happy Prince, the main characters are the Happy Prince himself and the little swallow. On the other hand, characteristics are the traits or qualities that describe what a character is like. This can be about their personality, their behavior, or even their appearance.
Guys, I just read about this short story. The title is The Happy Prince, and I found the character and characteristic very interesting. So, did you guys know the protagonist is a statue of the Happy Prince? His character is very generous. He gave all of his wellness, his gold to the poor people, and I found it really interesting.
But what about the antagonist?
Oh, the antagonists basically were the society in the city. But the characteristic is very people are full of greed. They are very hypocrite and lack of empathy. They literally ignore the poor.
Do you think there's any minor character?
Actually, yes. The first one is the sick boy. He is very ill and got a fever. And then lastly, the young writer, which is he cannot continue his work because he do not have money and stuff.
Oh, great! Now I have the idea about the short story.
Now, I think I'm curious about the conflict.
Sophia! I finally made the research about the conflict.
Tell me about it. Okay, but first, let's go there. It's very hot.
It is. So basically, the conflict is about character versus society, because the society were very selfish and they didn't even help the poor. Example, the part where the prince lost the jewelry and then the society starts to turn their back on him. And then the society starts to label him as ugly and dull.
Oh my god, what a story! The society definitely being injustice with the statue and the poor.
I agree.
Hi guys, yesterday me and Sophia were talking about The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde, and we got really curious about the literary devices and point of view in the story. If you don't mind, could you explain to me about it?
Hi. Okay, so you wanna know about point of view of Happy Prince? Okay, I will tell you before that. Is the lighting looks okay? Okay. The type of point of view is third-person omniscience, where the narrators know feelings, actions, and thought of some character, which is the Happy Prince and the Swallowbird. For example, The eyes of the happy prince were full of tears. The tears ran down of his golden face. The face was very beautiful in the moonlight, and the bird feels sorry for him. I think it's comfortable here. I think I want to sit down since I can stand here because I need to tell you more of this short story. Wait, yeah, Yasmin. Okay, now I'm going to sit and tell you the literary devices for this short story. This short story has lots of literary devices, which is personification, symbolism, imaginary, irony, and allegory. So I will tell you one by one for you to understand with the example. Okay, so first, personification. For the example, the eyes of Happy Prince was full of tears. These effects that give the character human quality were making readers feel empathy. I feel so empathy when reading this story. How about you, Yasmin?
Personally, I think it was very saddening because it's the fact that he couldn't move but still want to help people.
The next one is symbolism, where ghosts and jewels on the statue. This represent wealth and beauty that used for compassion and sacrifice in this story. So the third one is imaginary. In this short story, the example is it was covered with gold and the red jewels hung from its waist. It creates vivid picture that enhance emotional and a visual impact to the readers. The next literary device is irony. For example, the happy prince is happy yet feels sadness after that. This shows contrast between appearance and reality. The last one is allegory, where the whole story reflects sacrifice and charity. It conveys moral lessons like kindness, generosity, and true happiness. That's all for me, Yasmin. I'm so happy to tell you all of this. What did you think about this story?
For me, I found this story very, very interesting and I would really recommend to everyone I know. So, anyways, thank you for sharing your thoughts with me, Kaisa, and see you again.
I see. Okay, Yasmin, that's all from me. I hope you gain knowledge for what I share with you and see you next week. Bye.
In conclusion, The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde is more than just a fairy tale. It is a timeless reminder to us that kindness, sacrifice, and love exist for others. And today, this story speaks to us. Do we care about appearance, like the town people, or do we care about giving love and sacrifices to other people, like the swallow and the prince? Anyways, thank you for listening to our story, and I hope this story gives you inspiration as much as it gives me. And thank you so much for the time. Bye!